Welcome to AM. My name is Richard Conway, and this is the platform for age group multisport athletes to showcase their journeys. Welcome along to a special episode of AMP, the Age Group Multisport podcast. And on this episode, we speak to Paul Laursen. So Paul is based out of Canada, and he's an author of the HIIT Science book. He's an author of the Science and Application of High Intensity Training. He's the co-author of the Science and Application of High Intensity Training book with Martin Bouchard. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. He's also the CEO of both HIIT Science and what we're going to be mainly discussing, the platform Athletica AI. Formerly a Physiology Manager for the High Performance New Zealand team that had 2 cycles at the Olympics, and is an Adjunct Professor at Auckland Uni of Technology, and has been since 2009, publishing over 140 refereed manuscripts. He's competed himself in over 17 Ironmans, and now coaches some of the world's top triathletes. So as you can see, he's got a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. So I hope you enjoy our conversation. As a disclaimer, I do use the platform myself. I am an ambassador for Athletica AI, and I've just found it's a game changer. It just gives me some structure without thinking, without planning, and I just put in the details of what I want to race, and the computer works out a plan for me based on my ability and what I'm trying to achieve. So yeah, it's if you haven't had a look at it, go over to their website. They're also on Instagram, Athletica AI, and see what you think. But have a listen to Paul first, and he might even persuade you even more to go. He might even persuade you more to have a look. Like I say, very knowledgeable, and really enjoyed the chat. And I learned quite a bit from Paul that I didn't realise you could do on the platform. So yeah. So I hope you enjoy this. It seems to have I've put a few shout outs out there for people to come onto the show, age groupers to come on the show, and I've had a bit of interest, to be fair. People have got in touch, and I've asked them to drop emails through, and some of them have even gone that far, but they've not followed through for whatever reason, not sure. So we are really desperate to get some more age groupers on so we can listen to their fantastic stories. So if you're out there and you listen to this and you fancy coming on, just drop us an email or DM us on either Facebook or Instagram. And if you have been on, get in touch with some of your colleagues, friends who are also age groupers, and see if they want to come on. Tell them to get in touch, because we really can't do this without you. I don't want to stop doing it, but if I haven't got guests coming on, then other than me waffling on for an hour, which won't be great for anybody, then I really don't see where we can go from there. I might have to open it up to just multi-sport athletes full stop, and leave the age group out of it, but I'd prefer to give the age group as a platform to share their story and hints and tips, and inspire others to get to where they are. But I understand everybody's busy, and especially this time of the year. But yeah, so please, if you want to come on, it would be great to hear from you. Like I said, just get in touch. What have we been doing since we last put a podcast out, which was quite a while ago, quite a few weeks. It was good to be kept up to date about all the age group news that's been going on from Age Group News over on Instagram and Facebook about the races that have been taking place, both duathlon and triathlon. Well done to everybody who medalled, and well done to everyone else who took part. It's been fantastic following your stories and listening to the adventures that you've all been up to. So yeah, well done. And well done the Age Group News for giving us a good insight into what's been going on. Keep it up, guys, it's really good. Yes, winter is coming. We're in middle of November now. The weather has been kind, but it is just starting to take a dip. I'm currently still rehabbing, just been for physio today actually, and it's going really well. Stepping up the running and not feeling any of the side effects from that, so I'm going to keep the physio going, and yeah, just building up gradually. No rush now as we're in base training, winter time, so just going to get our endurance right from all three disciplines and practice our transitions when we can. There'll be a lot of Zwifting going on, a lot of pool time, and a lot of gym work, yoga. So yeah, all that stuff. We'll try and keep improving, and let me know about your training and how you're getting on, and hopefully we'll be ready for next year and see what that brings. So all good stuff. So on to the main event. It was great to chat to Paul all the way over in Canada, and very knowledgeable guy, and I hope you enjoy what he's got to say, and I hope after it that you have a look at his platform and give him some support.
Hi Richard.
Hi Paul.
How are you?
I'm very well, how are you?
Very good, thanks.
Excellent.
Excellent. I like it. I like the combo. You got the guitar, you got the bikes. Nice.
Yeah, it's just a little study come everything room really, where we do Zwift and yeah, just chill out.
Perfect.
I love
Definitely needed in these.
Sorry, go on.
Definitely needed these days. I was just going to say.
Yeah, I was going to say I love the picture above your piano. That's pretty cool.
Thank you. Do you recognize it? You know what it is?
I can see its feet. Is it? Yeah, feet either side of a line. So that would tell me.
Yeah, so it's like my it was from an old shirt, the very first triathlon I did in Bellingham, Washington, and it was it's like a barefoot print, like for the swimmer coming out of the water, and then then the bike tire line in the middle. Yeah.
Couldn't quite make out that bike tire, but yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah, and then a classic Nike waffle shoe kind of footprint on the other one. So it's like, yeah,
very clever.
Yeah, triathlon's my passion, obviously. So yeah.
Yeah, I've heard quite a few of your interviews, and it was on the that triathlon show that I first come across you, and obviously the Athletica AI program. So that's what got me switched onto it. So
great. How are you finding it?
I'm really enjoying it. I'm not saying I'm at this moment in time I'm struggling with an injury on my knee, so I'm not hitting. I'm just starting back running.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm following the plan. I've put in an Olympic distance plan at the moment over the winter time, just to get me through.
Perfect.
Perfect. That's cool. So yeah, welcome along to AMP. Thank you for doing this. And yeah, if you'd like to tell us a bit about your background.
Well, basically, Richard, I mean, I'm just like everyone else on this show, I think, just passionate about the sport of triathlon. And it started at a pretty young age. I was following my dad around. He was trying to quit smoking, and he was using marathon running to quit smoking. So that was, which was great. It worked for him. And then I would go out for a run with him every day when he sort of did that. And that was my, and then I discovered I had a bit of a knack for the endurance world. And then, it was back in the 80s when like triathlon was just starting to kind of, it was like one of those freak sports, right? In the early
Yeah.
80s, and then, so then I was an early adopter there, joined I'm from British Columbia, Canada. So I joined the Simon Fraser University Triathlon Club, did my first Ironman when I was 19, which was really young in those days.
Yeah.
And and I was just hooked from then. And then I tried to become a professional for about 5 years, living out of the back of a VW Combi van. And
Glamorous.
yeah, there and in Australia, like two different places I was doing that, and didn't manifest, obviously. But what winds up happening is you just develop this. Well, why didn't it happen? Why couldn't I be as good as those other guys? And then that stemmed my curiosity, and then that went into studying it. So, bachelor's, master's, PhD in exercise physiology, published lots of studies. And, I was in Australia working with their Olympic program. Then I got hooked, I guess, headhunted into the New Zealand program, 2 Olympic cycles there, and all along working with the elite triathlon squad too. So, pretty extensive background in triathlon and understanding science of triathlon, and all of that. Also, like when I was doing the science of it, what I also really missed was working with athletes, and I discovered that, and I started working with a lot of athletes personally in New Zealand as well. So I discovered I became a pretty good coach. So then I started to put the two, everything started together with all my science knowledge, which is in HIIT Science and the Science and Application of High Intensity Interval Training, which is a book of all the concepts. And then but it was, it's complex. Training's complex, so we got to have a sort of a simple. Some people just want to know what should I do. I want to understand a bit, but probably not the level. I don't have time to go and spend a career on it. So we invented Athletica, which is like an online AI kind of coach. So you can harness all of the principles that are sort of behind within HIIT Science and get the most bang for buck out of your training. So you hook up your Garmin or your Polar device through Strava, and boom, we're seeing what you're doing, we're tracking progress, and we're rerouting you based on how you're tracking through your training on Athletica. And that's really where I'm at today.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to? Well, actually, I've got a question before that one. I'm getting ahead of myself. So after you'd done all this training and became a coach, and you'd done all the studying, did you ever find out why you couldn't become a pro athlete?
Yeah, I think if I could do it all again, yeah, for sure. So the reason I wasn't becoming a pro athlete was because all I would go and do is go out there and train hard. I would just train in the mid zone all the time. There was just never any real structure. It was just the old expression that we see in so many sports: miles win medals. And I was a hard nut, and yep, I can train the most. If I train the most, I will. I know I'm going to be successful, and that gets you to a certain level, but it doesn't get you when you're talking everyone at the top with VO2 max is above 70. In the males, you've got to have other strings to your bow ultimately, and that goes for the age grouper as well. Like, yeah, you can just train hard all the time, but you might run into overtraining, which of course I did using that method as well. Ultimately, there's a better road to Rome. So training smarter, not harder, is our motto. So you can be more strategic with your training. That's what I wasn't doing when I was back slogging it out. So then I learned how to be more strategic. And how are we being strategic? Well, I 20, 30 years of studying the human body first to understand the different levers to pull with respect to intensity, duration of a session, so that you stress and adapt the systems that are going to leverage your performance the most. Say, for example, if I want, like we know that cardiac output, VO2 max is important. Well, we best have a session in our plan that is going to expand our cardiac output, our heart's capacity to pump blood to the various different muscles. And we best have that session in there. We best also have a session that works on our long duration fat burning capacity, but maybe the two don't go hand in hand. Maybe they should be sort of separated on the plan. And again, this is what Athletica has on board for you. So it's, as you probably know, Richard, it's all, every session sort of has a purpose and a session aim, and it's very structured. And again, if you look on our blog posts, it helps people achieve personal bests they've never achieved before by just using the old method.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think the old adage, it depends, should be on lots and lots of t-shirts, because whenever you ask anybody anything like within this, it's all very, very individual, isn't it? And I think that's what Athletica AI brings, because it is individualistic to whoever takes it up. So I think that it depends on you specifically, and I think that works.
Yeah, you're so right. And there's a number of examples on there. So where we individualize. So when you come into Athletica, the first thing we sort of ask you to do is to declare what type of volume you generally do in a given week, right? And we have our age groupers that they only want 5 to 10 hours a week of training. That's all they've got time for. So they're on the low volume program. And conversely, we've got crazy, insane, hardcore elites, or at least sub-elites, top age groupers that want 20 to 25 hours of training. Yeah. So we have those plans that are put out there. And then the other thing we also do, we have to individualize for capacities too. So we have to, as you'll know, Richard, we have a testing week that kicks off with every program. We need to get a picture of where you're sitting in terms of what your abilities are, your aerobic and your anaerobic abilities across different durations. And because that's going to form the zones, the zone capture for your different sessions. So of course we have that in there as well. And then the final thing that we individualize is we individualize the load responses. So just like any excellent coach, they'll actually read your comments. They'll get a picture for how hard that you felt that session was. Well, we've got a capture at the end that asks you how your session was, and depending on what you're writing, that coach, Athletic, is actually reading what you're writing. The coach is listening to you, and we use a technology called semantic analysis. So it's actually getting a feel for you in particular on how you are actually responding to that session. And then we also have a session rating and perceived exertion. How did you feel that session was in terms of how hard it was? And then the feel, because a session can be hard, but feel great, right? When you're on fire, session can feel hard, but it can feel really awful. So there's differences in there. And again, by using all those, we again individualize based on the load response, your load response.
Yeah. So just going back to that, because the subjective data that we write in the box, what is the best things to put in there to get the best out of the plan? Because I always really struggle to know what to put in. It's and like you just said about the semantic analysis, what is the best thing that we should be putting in there?
The best thing you should be putting in there is what you would say if I was on the other end reading that comment.
Yeah.
So what do you want the coach to know about that session? It could be anything, but ultimately the semantic analysis is reading the mood of that comment. When you're talking with individuals, you are reading their mood. You're reading how they're doing, and that's what that's what semantic analysis is doing. It's so just be open and honest is the answer there in terms of, and you can say as little or as much as you want. Sometimes we have a lot to say about that session, and it might be 2 paragraphs. Other times it could be a single line or a single word. So don't overthink it. What would you tell me if I was coaching you on the other side of Athletica?
Yeah. But is it about how you felt in the session, or how the session went, or is it all those things?
All those things, yeah.
Things.
And this is the other thing we've discovered. Again, this was all by accident, but when we started taking this data, we found that you have a certain fingerprint in terms of how verbose or whatever you're going to be with your comments. And some people want to say a whole lot to Athletica, and that's what they always sort of tend to do. That's their. But some people are, short and sweet and to the point, a little gruff and just cut. But it doesn't matter because it's you. You're not going to go from a single line or a single word kind of person to a 2-paragraph verbose individual likely overnight. It's like it's capturing you all the way through. So it's individualizing for you. That's kind of the neat thing.
Yeah. And how does this platform differ to other ones that are out there on the market then?
Yeah, it's a good question. Honestly, I'm not super familiar with our competitors. It's probably a weakness of me. Maybe I should a little bit, but I'm trying to, what we're trying to do with Athletica is we try to just do what we would want to do from our history in sports science, working with Olympic programs, etc. And we really try to leverage all of the principles that are in HIIT Science. And that's a book and a course that myself, Martin, and I have written. It's got a good following. It's very, very popular in the sports science coaching kind of world. We're actually not too into the athlete market. That's a real limitation, is we don't, the athletes don't really know about us too much. But the coaches know about us. So that's our next sort of thing. We're going to make a coach version. But things like, there's Peakers, which is an AI one. And I think Peakers, I believe they have set plans, and then they've got people that are behind the scenes that you would talk to, like a nutritionist.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know the quality of those individuals. So there's
the only one I've heard of is Tridot. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of Tridot, and I've never seen it or used it, but I've heard people that tell me they come on and they say, "Oh, this is a bit like Tridot, except it's a lot better." So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know they because obviously they've got a podcast, and I listen to that intermittently, depending on what they've got on, and they're always putting it out there and trying to just. And it comes across as if it is like your platform. They're gathering all this information and have done for many years, and wondered, what the differences were. And
yeah, I would imagine they would be similar, perhaps not as sophisticated in terms of leveraging science. I mean, I certainly could be wrong.
No, that's fair comment. Fair comment.
I mean ours is based on a career in sports science. So
sure. So how long did it take to develop?
7 years we've been working on it. Yeah.
Obviously, it's still in development.
still in development. Yes.
It'll continue to do so. I would imagine throughout its life, it'll change and get better. And
that's right. Absolutely. Yes. So if there are any investors on the line, we're always open to discussing. That's kind of the thing that we need to take it to the next level right now, is just a little bit of investor love. But it's going very well, and we do have a lot of interest from others as well. So it will get there.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, I've never really been coached, had a coach I'm part of a club, and we've got coaches within the club, and I've never had a coach on my own, and I've never really used a online plan before. So to get on it and actually give it a go and use it, it's pretty good to have something that what am I doing today? I don't have to think about it. I don't have to write my own plan. It's certainly opened my eyes and made things a lot easier and a lot more better from a time point
Yes.
of view.
Can I ask you a question on that then, Richard?
Sure.
How is Athletica different from what you would have traditionally done with your group?
Basically,
any different sessions or anything like that?
I think the sessions are pretty similar. I mean, I sometimes swap some sessions out because obviously I'm part of a club, so we have a track session on a morning, on a Saturday morning, and I usually swap out whatever, and that's the other beauty of it. You can swap things around. So if you've got an interval set in my plan that you've put in on a different day, then I'll swap that out and put it over where I'm doing the track session. You know what I mean? So it's great because it's flexible. But as to answer your question, I guess a lot of the sessions are pretty much what we would be doing anyway. So yeah, it's good. It's good that way because they're all.
You probably got a good group there with a good leader. Then that's great.
Yeah. I mean, we've been doing this now for 12 years. Various things. So triathlon and duathlons and multi-sport in general. We've got quite a good handle on it. Got some good people. So
yeah, but I guess that to your point though, that is the advantage of the Athletica. There is or one of many, but the fact that you can cater it to your own situation, like you just said. So you can mirror what you're doing based on the sessions that you see there. Yeah. And then those other sessions that you might be doing by yourself, they get the adaptive ability. So remember with Athletica, again, remember it's got the whole sports science feature behind it. We adjust the training load, right? Load is stress on the body. So we adjust the amount of stress in the sessions around that. So say, for example, Richard, that hard track session, you dragged in maybe, I would imagine the run short interval one, you might drag into that session. And then it comes out, and depending on how that session was done on your wearable, you would actually, Athletica subsequently adapts the remaining sessions thereafter based on what it's seeing in that session. So it might pull some load off, add some load depending on what it thought you did relative to what it thought was ideal. Does that make sense?
It does perfect sense. And I've noticed that because when I go back on it after like a tough session, it says Athletica AI has updated and reassessed your plan. You know what I mean? Maybe 2 hours ago or whatever. So I mean, it's doing it pretty much all the time, which is
and that's kind of neat. I might have mentioned this already, but I'll re-mention it. It's almost like how you use Google or Apple Maps, and it does the rerouting function on it. Yeah, well, that's what we've tried to create. So we've tried to create like a rerouting function in Athletica, so that now it reroutes your training to lead you to best form on race day.
Yeah, it's almost real time, isn't it?
Just about, yeah. I mean, the computations involved are extensive, but we're speeding the speed of update is the guys have done a great job in the back end, and I think it's coming in within 10 minutes. Your re-update, and there's a lot of calculations that are made.
Yeah, it is truly mind blowing. You know what I mean? To have that capability to design something like this is just I can't get my head around it. How you?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, and myself as a coach, like I can't make these calculations as fast as Athletica can as well, right? So it's really something from that perspective. And again, for the coaches that might be listening, this is why we want to actually make a coach version of this too, because we know that coaches will want to have that feature too, so that they can, I mean, coaches out there know there's a lot more to coaching than just putting in the session plan. There's the communication aspects, there's the planning for race day, etc. Apologies there.
No worries, makes it real.
That was Andy Busher, in case you know who that is.
I have come across his name. I have, yeah. The other thing you'd mentioned about the different types of volume is that I'd put in my plan. I'd gone on a medium volume, and I've just had a couple of alerts the last week saying that I'm not hitting the volume, which is fair comment because obviously I'm not running as much as I'd like to due to the injury. So then what I've done is I've gone back and I've readjusted that volume for next week. It'll start on Monday, so that lower volume should sort of like make that plan smoother, and I won't be getting these alerts from it saying you're not hitting them. Although it is just obviously, like you said in the background, it's probably adjusting that already anyway.
It is, for sure. It's picking up the fact that we are losing fitness due to your injury. We're losing run specific, particularly. And yeah, it's recognizing that in the background. So subsequently, when you do come back to running, it should have you at a lower plan level, and ultimately, hopefully, nurse you back at a more appropriate rate to lessen the chance of injury. It really will depend, like you said, right, on what kind of injury we have here, and how, I'm dealing with a hip injury right now, and I'm trying to nurse myself back to health, and it's unfortunately it's quite complex, and there's more than just the load that's going on. There's a lot to do with biomechanics and physiotherapy and athletic therapy and whatnot that are around it. It depends, but
yeah, I guess it stems from when you do your testing, put your testing results back in. Obviously, you won't be running as fast on your 5K test as you would have done normally, so that'll alter all your data on it.
Absolutely, yeah. That'll put you at a lower zone for sure. Or you can even manually update that yourself too, right, Richard? Like if you just want to say, oh, I'm not at 25-minute 5K pace right now. I'm gonna put that down to 27-minute 5K pace, or whatever the case may be for your ability.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. The other thing I was going to ask, sort of like going forward, I use a lot of Zwift sessions, pretty much all year round, but definitely in the winter time when it's I'm a bit of a fair weather rider, especially in the winter time. Is there any plans in the future to be able to take the workouts that you've provided on AI and actually transfer them over to Zwift?
Yeah, we already have that, Richard. Right. So if you right click. Or I don't even right click, but if you click on the little, what are they, like the 3 bars and stuff that are on the right of every session, it's right beside the one where you drag it. It will read export ZWO, export MRC, export ERG. Yeah. So I think the ZWO is the Zwift export. So you can export the session. You export the session up to Zwift, and you're good to go. You're riding it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I was thinking there must be some way of doing, because I know you can import files in, but I am not technically savvy enough to work that one out. So I thought while you were on, it was a good question to.
Absolutely. No, for sure. And yeah, it's not super. And we also have a YouTube channel as well that explains. So just go to our main website, athletica.ai, and click on the YouTube link to that. That'll bring you to the Athletica YouTube site. And from there, you can actually, there's an explainer video on how to go about actually uploading your Zwift file to Zwift. So even for less tech savvy individuals like myself, it's very helpful.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I'll have a look at that. So here's a question for you then. Why should triathletes, multi-sport athletes I'm an age grouper. This is for age group athletes, basically, the podcast. But just for general triathletes or multi-sporters, why should they why should they try and start and use your platform, Athletica AI? What would you say to that?
Well, I think There could be multiple different reasons depending on the individual, but sometimes you start in with this sport of triathlon and you wonder yourself, well, what do I do to get to actually complete this triathlon? So that for that individual, they might want to go on a low volume triathlon plan. We have sprint, Olympic, half Ironman plan. So depending on what they're doing, they're just starting in and they wonder, well, what do I do? What should I sort of aim to do on a week to week basis? Should I, if you're just starting out of the sport, do I run all week and then the next week I'll, cycle? Yeah. So this sort of shows a good pattern of how you might want to, a blend. Sorry, Andy is
he's desperate to get hold of you.
Andy. Andy's keen to get on. So how do you actually go about it? So that's the first one. The second one is a lot of us are type A individuals in the world of triathlon, and we wonder, you're just exactly like my situation where you wondered, is there a better road to Rome, or should I just keep slogging myself? And this, maybe I don't have the option to be with a group like you're in, Richard, where I'm really, the guys are really switched on and they're blending the sessions for it really well. Well, this is going to actually show you, this is going to maximize your physiology on a day-to-day basis. It's adaptive and it's individualized. And there's just not a lot out there that does this. And, this, I think, we beat a lot of the coaches that are out there. You'll also come across coaches that aren't that good out there. And this is built on some, expertise in coaching. And, if you read some of our blog posts, some individuals who come on here, they can't believe the fact that they've bounced around from one coach to the next for so long. And then here they go and use an AI coach. And they get, they qualify for Kona, and there's a bunch of stories where this is what happens. So if you're that type A individual and you want to maximize and see what's really possible and under your engine, this could be for you as well.
Yeah. So it actually captures all ends, doesn't it? From a complete beginner to the one who wants to qualify for Kona, for example. It
really is. I mean, it's unleashing human potential, right? At the end of the day. So do you want to unleash your own human potential? Are you inspired to do that? Well, here's a product that's very economical that you could do that. And I mean, we are actually having I don't know when this might go out, Richard, but we've got a Black Friday special. You can go on our, it's Black Friday 25, so you get 25% off on annual membership. So that's, the price point, I think it winds up being $122 for a year. So if you can find I can't find any coaches out there that are gonna, you can afford for $122 for a year. So that's pretty solid price.
I think so. After all the efforts that you've gone to putting it all together, and it is very, very reasonable. So in the future, then, where do you see it going? What's the exciting things coming up that we can look forward to?
The main thing that we're always continuing to fine tune our logic in the back end. That's an ongoing battle, which is a lot of fun, and we've just got some great guys in the back end that work on that on a daily basis in terms of the decisions that we make for the next session based on what you just did. So that's ongoing. But the other key one is, and this is our, if we're going to go to the mass market, we feel we need to offer it to coaches, because coaches are really the people that are following us, not so much the athletes. So we need, our main two things are probably developing a coach version. So coaches have the access to this technology for their athletes, and just getting more athletes on the platform and continuing to refine it.
Yeah, to make it grow.
Yeah, just to make it grow. Absolutely. We're at we're at a place now where it's working really well, and now more people just need to realize the
Yeah.
benefits of it and use it.
Yeah. Well, good luck with it all. Have you got anything else that you would like to add about the platform or anything else while you're at it?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, just if you're interested, we've got a mailing list, so get on the website athletica.ai, and you can follow us on our socials at Athletica AI everywhere. So yeah, just check us out there. And yeah, if you're seeing this before Black Friday, get in on the special offer and check it out there.
Cool. Well, it's been lovely to talk to you. Thank you ever so much again for coming on and telling us all about Athletica AI and a bit about yourself. Much appreciated. And yeah, hope it goes from strength to strength.
Thank you, Richard. Really appreciate the chat and the exposure for us. Very grateful.
Thanks once again to Paul. Great to meet you, and good luck with everything in the future. And yeah, I really enjoy using Athletica AI. It's so intuitive, and it changes almost in real time after you've done a session. Yeah, so check it out if you haven't seen it already. It's all over multimedia, and you'll see it on the AMP pages as well. Excuse me. So yeah, give it a look up. I'm also going to invest in or put down on my Christmas list Paul's high intensity training book that he's co-written, and just give that a read and see what we can learn from that. So, and that's about it for this episode. Like I said on the intro, if you'd like to come on the show and share your story, please do. Get in touch, and you can get in touch by emailing us at agegroupmultisportpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Instagram at amp_1967, so you can DM us there, and we're on Facebook at ampgb. You can also DM us there. If you want to listen to all the other podcasts, we've got 39 available, with some fantastic athletes on there. You can go across to our website at agegroupmultisportpodcast.buzzsprout.com. We're on Twitter at agegroupmultisportpodcast, and we've also got our own YouTube channel, which is ampgb. So give us a shout out, give us a like, subscribe, and please, most of all, just come on, and we can continue this journey together and give a little bit back, and hopefully inspire. So thanks again, and remember, stay safe, keep training, and love the process.